I am stressed, depressed, but 100% blessed because I'm going to be reading The Little Garden arc today. And when I say stressed and depressed, it's just because I mentioned in my Whiskey Peak arc video that I was taking my two cats to get the... Is that the sound of scissors? And they're absolutely fine, but obviously they needed constant care and attention. So I barely slept last night. The only thing that was keeping me going was knowing that today I would tackle another arc of One Piece. I am going through the entire story of One Piece for the very first time, and I'm currently in the Alabasta saga. I'm still here, I'm still in this little island of the story. So far in the Alabasta saga, I have read the Reverse Mountain arc, which was good, I gave it 6 out of 10, and then the Whiskey Peak arc, which I gave 7 out of 10. I thought it was better than Reverse Mountain, and I really enjoyed my time. I will link all the One Piece videos down in the description box if you haven't checked them out already. But anyway, yes, the next one is Little Garden, and this consists of volumes 13 through 15 of One Piece, as well as chapters 115 through to 129. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to read all 15 chapters of the Little Garden arc, and I have no idea what's about to happen. We last left our gang when they've left Whiskey Peak, but we got a tiny sneak peek of the island, or it seems like a jungle of the Little Garden, and it was some tiger walking through a jungle area, and there was a huge footprint next to it, and I'm not 100% sure what the is going on, not gonna lie, but hopefully in the next few hours of reading the Little Garden arc, I'll know everything. So I've got my copy ready to go. I have my One Piece volumes ready to go. I have been watching the One Piece anime this morning. I've watched the first 7 episodes. I've bought the first 5 collections on DVD. So I actually got the idea from talking to people in the comments of my previous Whiskey Peak arc video about maybe doing a review of the anime episodes of each arc once I finished reading the manga of it. Now, I can't do it in this video, I can't do it with the Little Garden arc because there's no time to catch up, and plus I don't have collections 2 through 5 yet. They're coming tomorrow from Amazon. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's a good idea? I'll review the manga chapters, the entire arc, and then go to the anime episodes afterwards and watch it that way. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Please let me know. As always, I need guidance in these kind of matters. But yeah, starting from the Drum Island arc, if it gets a thumbs up, is I will watch the anime episodes after finishing the manga arc. Yeah, that's kind of the idea right now. But we are evolving. These videos are constantly evolving, and it's thanks to you. So thank you so much for all the comments and all the lovely support. I really appreciate it. Anyway, Little Garden. Here we go. Dinosaurs! I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are like my favourite. Well, maybe not my whole total favourite. Let's just say Jurassic Park is probably my favourite film of all time. I absolutely love that the first thing that Luffy thinks to do is to ride on the back of one. Literally, as soon as Vivi tells Luffy that this island was stuck in like prehistoric time, because on the Grand Line, obviously every island is like isolated and it's unpredictable. So there are some islands that are trapped in time or isolated and things like that. So this is stuck in the prehistoric time. Yeah, Luffy is just like, he's already off and he's already on the back of one. And he's like, cool. And I feel like that's totally my reaction. Honestly. Oh my god, that's awesome. And then I was wondering, why is it called Little Garden then? But obviously, to its inhabitants, the island truly is a little garden. Therefore, let us call it Little Garden, Land of Giants. And I can't wait to see what happens now. It feels like One Piece meets Jurassic Park. And I love that. So I'm already loving this arc, in all honesty. Again, not too much to say about the chapter, but there were some really good comedic moments. I absolutely love when Zoro kind of challenges Sanji, and only the One Piece crew, only the Straw Hats would kind of take a challenge on and get quite a big ego about it in such a dangerous location. They've no idea where they've ended up. They've seen that a tiger has been killed, the same tiger I imagine from the previous arc where we got that little sneak peek, and I feel so bad, I didn't want that tiger to die. I felt rather attached to that tiger. And literally Zoro's like, I'm gonna go wander, I'm gonna go for a walk, and then Sanji says, by running low on food, will you be able to find something to bring back? And then Zoro's like, I'll be able to find something that you could never kill. And then Sanji's like, is that a challenge? And of course now both of them are off hunting out of like this really friendly kind of challenge. Friendly, I don't know if it's going to end in a fight. I'm a little bit suspicious after Luffy versus Zoro. No, I'm sure they won't pull a Luffy versus Zoro again. It's just funny. Like, when you come to an island that looks that dangerous and one of the first things you do is challenge the other one to find something to hunt, it's just only the Straw Hats. Only the Straw Hats could do that. And also, I just love how quickly the tone can shift in One Piece. We start the arc off with them just on the ship and they are having a special drink and they're like kind of celebrating a little bit, and even Karoo's getting in on it. And I'm trying to pay more attention to background details and background characters, especially since I want to like take more of it in when I read this, because a lot of people have said there's going to be a lot of foreshadowing, there's going to be a lot of details that I might miss. So I'm literally with each panel now, I'm like scanning it right to left and making sure that I take it all in. And like Karoo being in the background of them asking if they want a special drink, and Karoo's even like, you know, even though he's a giant duck thing, he's got his arms stretched like quack and stuff. And Nami saying he's scared quackless. The humour never disappoints. Never disappoints. It's always making me a laugh. Luffy's just headfirst into adventure. I smell adventure. Just as iconic as Lorelei Gilmore saying I smell snow. If you ask me, just as iconic. Great first chapter. I'm so excited. Dinosaurs. Okay, that chapter was fine. It was less focused on the dinosaurs and more on these giants we've just been introduced to. We meet Dorry and Broggy, and they are warriors of Elbaf. Yeah, they've been on this island for I'm not sure how long, but they do have their own island, Elbaf, which is on the Grand Line. But I'm assuming they can't get there. They haven't explained their entire story yet, so I don't know what's going on. But they've been in like a war for 100 years between them, and they say God favors whoever is right in a dispute, so whoever is right will win. And yeah, so they've been fighting for a very long time. So we have Vivi and Luffy, they're with Doggy. No, they're not. They're with Dorry. They're with Dorry, and Usopp and Nami are with Broggy. It was really funny when Broggy appeared to Nami and Usopp and Nami are just standing there trying so hard not to cry because they've just seen this huge giant in front of them and they don't know what to do. And there's a panel where they're like, play dead. Play dead. If I was in that situation, I would do the exact same thing, not gonna lie. I would just play dead. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of focus on the dinosaurs. I feel a bit bad because one of the dinosaurs is a Neptunian, and it's the one that Luffy was riding in the previous chapter, and Dorry just beheads it when it eats Luffy. Like, I'm sure Luffy would have come out unscathed, you know, even if it had taken a little bit while, and maybe the Neptunian would have shit Luffy out at some point. You didn't have to behead and kill this dinosaur. I feel a bit bad for it. Broggy also beheads a T-Rex looking dinosaur, and I'm just like, why are you killing all the dinosaurs? Like, this is their home. Like, you don't have to kill them all. It's a bit like, you know, Jaws. So what if the shark accidentally ate a few people? You don't need to kill it. It's in its nature. So I need these dinosaurs to stop dying. I want a little bit more focus on the dinosaurs now. I mean, I do like Dorry and Broggy, don't get me wrong. They seem full of life, and the banter between Dorry and Luffy is very funny, and I feel like Dorry finds Luffy's sense of humour really enticing and hilarious. So they're getting on like a house on fire, really. I mean, so far, everything could change. Also, it looks like Dead Center Mountain is erupting. It's like a volcano. And yeah, it's erupting, and apparently that settles the dispute between them. So the next chapter is called Dorry and Broggy. So I'm imagining maybe it's a resolution to their story. I just want to get back to the dinosaurs. I want some epic chase. I want maybe a fight with a dinosaur. Yeah, I just want dinosaurs. Now that I know there's dinosaurs, I want dinosaurs. And Murphy's just messaged. I already love Mr. 3. He has good taste in tea. We all love a bit of Earl Grey. He's absolutely correct. I'm already eating my words about the whole giants thing from the previous chapter. This is my problem. Sometimes I try and go a bit too full steam ahead, and I don't think of, okay, Gav, slow down. Why do you think this is happening right now? Why do you think we have these giants in the story? And I feel like this chapter that I've just read does encapsulate a lot of themes and some of the things that our characters want. So it's great to highlight that, especially in terms of Usopp, who I feel like for a while hasn't really had a whole lot to do. But Usopp, his goal, his dream is to become a warrior. And with these giants, with Dorry and Broggy, they are warriors. They are warriors of Elbaf. And Usopp wants to be like them. It's so funny as well, because when Usopp first says this to Nami, she's like, wait, what, a giant? And he's like, no, a warrior. And then when he says it again to, I think it was Broggy, even Broggy's like, a giant? It's like, neither of them think Usopp as a warrior. And I like that. I root for an underdog. You know, I feel like Usopp is such an underdog when it comes to being an actually brave warrior. So I am rooting for him to do that. I'm rooting for his dream to come true. And then at least he will have a little bit more to do, you know? As I mentioned in the previous chapter, it did look like the fight between Broggy and Dorry would potentially come to a head in this chapter. And it did in quite an explosive way. And I wasn't expecting that. Dorry has drank some of the ale and it's exploded in his stomach, and obviously Broggy wouldn't have done that because they're warriors and they are fighting for honor, and it's not honorable to do such a dirty trick. So who in the world made the ale explode? Was it one of our team? Was it one of the Straw Hats? I have no idea. This is a proper mystery. Also, the log pose that they are trying to set at this island so that they can go to the next one, they are told that it will take about a year for that to set. And they don't have a year. And they won't be able to survive on this island for a year. And I love priorities again, because Vivi is crying because she's like, what will happen to my kingdom if, you know, we're here for a year? And Luffy's like, never mind that. What about boredom? She's like, yeah, priorities, Luffy. You don't want to be bored for a year. I mean, you have dinosaurs. You do have dinosaurs, so come on, Luffy, you'll never be bored on this island. There is the eternal pause that the giants have, and that's why they're currently fighting over. And it is set to Elbaf. And if they go that route, then it will probably take them off course. I'm not too sure where Elbaf is in the Grand Line, or like if it's too far away, or if it's maybe on the route, or if it's near Alabasta. I have no idea. But yeah, it seems like that might be the quickest way off the island, so they don't have to wait a whole year beforehand, because there are a lot of human skulls there, which is actually quite terrifying. Again, like the gravestones, the tombstones in the previous arc being on the cacti. Thank you everyone for letting me know that multiple cacti is cacti. Just like there were so many tombstones and the implication that so many people have died or been killed, it's the same here. There are so many human skulls. Not everyone is able to survive that long. They either try and fight the giants and lose, or they become dinosaur food, or they starve, and it's just not a habitable island for humans. So what are they going to do? Well, apparently Luffy's going to fight, well, the only deceivers could possibly be you. So now Luffy's like, right, I need to teach you a lesson. And so I'm excited to see how he takes on a giant in the next one. But that does mean I finished volume 13, and now I am on volume 14. And the next chapter is called Someone's Out There. That's a little bit scary. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a little bit scared. Okay, let's do this. Let's see Luffy fight a giant. Imagine if he died. There's somebody else on this island. Chilling. It's like a horror movie. But then it does turn out to be the Baroque works. So it's not actually chilling. But there are some elements of horror that permeates the text sometimes. And I'm a huge fan of horror. I'm a huge fan of anything scary. So when something, even just like a sliver of scariness creeps into One Piece, I live. So the whole mystery of who spiked the ale and caused the explosion to happen within Dorry is revealed. It is Mr. 5. Mr. 5 is the one who did it. And he did it because Mr. 3 told him to. And we get more revelations about these giants. One thing I love about One Piece is that when we think we know a character, we have a bit of a 180. Not quite as dramatic as the Vivi reveal. I don't know if I really trust Mr. 3 when he says that these giants were part of like the race of giants that terrorize villages and burn them down, and we're causing a lot of chaos. So they are wanted. They have a large bounty on their heads. And that's what Mr. 3 wants. He wants the bounty for these giants. They do have a lot of self-preservation. So say, for instance, when Dorry attacked Luffy, that was self-preservation. That was a retaliation because he thought that Luffy had spiked the ale. But I wouldn't have said they would have went out of their way to destroy villages and burn them down and things. I'm a bit disappointed in you guys. I was expecting you guys to be better than that. I was disarmed by their humour. When I find characters funny, I don't really see them as evil. And that's hard. I need to kind of get my head out of that because I feel like there are so many characters who are funny in this series that turn out to be bad guys. If someone's funny, it doesn't automatically make them a good guy. And I need to stop thinking that they're not going to be bad just because they made me laugh. I didn't take as many photos on my phone of panels like I usually do with the chapters. I think I only took like 4 photos, and I've already mentioned the moments that I enjoyed. So yeah, I won't be talking much more about this chapter. It was absolutely fine. I'm right in front of the window here, so that's why I'm not moving. It's the only place in this room that has good lighting. So chapter 119. Yeah, not a whole lot happened, but we are ramping up towards something, and especially since the Baroque Works organization are hot on the heels of Luffy and our gang. I'm really interested to know how they appear as like Luffy and Nami, because they've tricked the real Zoro and Nami by appearing as somebody else, and they look genuinely like them. Do they have some kind of powers? Is one of the powers changing their appearance to look like someone else? Because they distracted Zoro with Nami, and then they distracted Nami with Luffy. And Usopp thought Nami was eaten by a dinosaur, and they have no idea where they've gone. And they don't really know what's exactly happened or where they've gone. I'm wondering where the hell Sanji is. Where the hell is Sanji at this current point in time? Because when Zoro came back on the page, I was like, oh crap, yeah, what's Zoro been up to? But he's been a little bit lost, and then he gets blindsided by a fake Nami. And then Sanji just hasn't appeared since he's been on this hunt. I think he was approached by a dinosaur. So he's been MIA for a few chapters. But yeah, what's going on? What is going on? The battle between, I keep wanting to call him Buggy. It's Broggy. Broggy and Dorry. Their fight continues. Even though Dorry has, like, his insides have been all mashed up because of the explosion, he's still fighting. He is still fighting, and I find that so admirable. But it will be interesting to see if we do have any conclusion to the storyline of them being bad giants from the past. Or I don't know if that was just the Baroque Works manipulating things. Maybe they're not bad giants. I don't know. I like the Usopp and Nami pairing because they have been together all this time. And I liked it when Nami was dragging Usopp, and she was like, I wish your bravery would kick in already. Because Usopp still hasn't quite got his bravery yet, which will make it that much more sweeter when he finally does become really brave. Today is obviously not that day. Also, Luffy's trapped under a mountain. Dorry put him under a mountain. So he can't move. There have been a few times where there have been arcs. I remember definitely in Syrup Village where Luffy is kind of out for the count, or he just like can't be part of the fight. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it allows the other Straw Hats to shine and to see how they cope without Luffy. Will Luffy get out from under this mountain? Who knows? Who knows? Well, probably you guys. You guys probably know because you would have already read this. Whew, for a moment there, I thought Karoo was dead. I would have thrown hands. I would have joined the battle if they had to kill Karoo. Poor Karoo. Honestly, they were forcing Karoo to try and call out to Vivi. Oh, the poor thing. But honestly, I would have been traumatized if they'd actually killed Karoo. So I'm glad they didn't. I'm actually surprised the fight between Broggy and Dorry was over in the first couple of pages of the chapter. Although, am I surprised? Because this fight has been going on for a while. So, no, I'm not surprised. But it was so shocking. It was so shocking that Broggy will kill Dorry right there and then. At least he looks dead. He definitely looks dead. I mean, the fountain of blood that comes up when he gets like axed in the face and everyone from like miles around can see it. Oh, that is gross. There's a couple of gross things that happen in this. Especially, ew, Mr. 3. He uses the wax from his body. Yeah, he uses the wax his body produces as a weapon. He's the human candle. I mean, obviously the human candle part is like, okay, fair. He uses the wax his body produces as a weapon? Ew. I would not want to be touched by Mr. 3's wax. That's disgusting. Oh, so does that mean that the Nami and the Luffy that appeared to Zoro in Nami, were they made from wax? That's really cool. If it is. That wasn't explained in this chapter. So I imagine we will get something else very, very soon regarding what the hell happened to them. This chapter mainly concerned the end of the fight between Broggy and Dorry and the revelations to our Straw Hats that the Baroque Works are there and they're behind the exploding ale and their plan is coming to fruition. Loved seeing Vivi and Usopp really go towards the fight too, even though they don't really do much damage towards Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine, but you know, they tried. and God loves a trier. Luffy's still stuck, Sanji is still MIA, and Zoro and Nami are still missing too. I think I'm around about halfway through the arc. I would still absolutely love it if we got more dinosaur action, but alas, so far, the dinosaurs have also been a little MIA. It's starting to go dark outside, so I feel like I may end up having to move anyway. Will you stop licking your balls when I told you? I feel like I could have finished this arc a while ago, actually. I have been reading for a good few hours now, and I'm taking everything on board. I am really trying to pay more attention than I ever paid before. A couple of things. I'm getting quite emotional for Broggy, because Broggy now found out that Dorry had the exploding ale, so he wasn't his best. He wasn't at his performing best during the battle where he won. So now Broggy is pissed. He is angry. And I can't wait to see how he responds to Mr. 3 in the next one. But also Karoo is fast becoming one of my favourite characters. I love Karoo. Like, at one, I'm just like so happy that Karoo is okay. I genuinely felt like it was rather life-threatening what Mr. 5 did to Karoo before, trying to force Karoo to summon Vivi. But no, now Karoo is pissed as well. There's a lot of people who are pissed right now. Luffy's pissed, Broggy's pissed, Karoo is pissed. It's going to be hilarious to see what happens next. I don't know if you can hear him purring, but he's quite a loud purrer. The only important things that I really got from this chapter was just the progression of the current storyline and Mr. 3 revealing his plan to get the bounty from the capture of Broggy. Honestly, he's so distracting. I'm finding it really hard to talk about this chapter with him on me. But we haven't had a boring chapter yet. I'm feeling really happy with how the Little Garden arc has been developing. I feel like Sanji's just like waiting to strike. A bit like how Nami waited in Whiskey Peak after like Zoro woke up and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see how Sanji comes into it again. I'm hoping soon because I miss the man. I miss him so much. As soon as one of my main characters is MIA for a little bit, I want them back ASAP. I can't handle not having them. Right, let me sort this little monster out and I'll get back to reading. I should have called you Luffy because he's so annoying, but also really endearing. Do you want me to read you a story? Yeah, okay. Let's read the next chapter together. Oh my gosh, also I can't believe I forgot to mention as well the fact that Mr. 3 has... Oh, you don't like Mr. 3? Okay. Mr. 3 has Nami, Zoro, and Vivi on this wax candelabra, and he's going to turn them into wax figures. Oh, that is scary. That is scary. I am in the middle of the next chapter as well, but it came back to me. I was like, crap, I didn't mention it when I talked about the previous chapter. So, yeah, now I'm mentioning it. It's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. Mr. 3's powers seem quite intimidating. He's going to be a difficult foe to overcome. Oof, my face as this chapter was getting on and on and on was like this. Because Zoro was about to cut off his legs. And I think he would have done. If Luffy, Usopp and Karoo hadn't come out of nowhere, then I honestly believe Zoro would have cut off his legs. He was already halfway through. His strength, honestly, like, how does he not feel that pain? He probably does. It's just, like, so internalized. But wow, like, I could not have that resolve. It was almost like Saw, you know, the horror movie. I wonder if Saw took inspiration from One Piece. Food for thought. I was getting really scared for Vivi, Zoro, and Nami. Even though I knew Luffy and Usopp and Karoo were on their way, it just seems like it's going to be so close. It's going to be like a really close battle. And Broggy, poor Broggy. Broggy's on the floor and he has swords through his hands and feet, pinning him to the floor. Ow! That really hurts. I mean, it doesn't hurt me, but like it hurts internally. And I can imagine it hurts like hell. And you know how I said in the Whiskey Peak arc video as well that I thought, oh, things are going to come easy to our main characters because they're quite overpowered. But I also eat my words saying that as well. Because this has been going on for a few chapters. You know, this whole fight between the Baroque Works and the Straw Hats. And it doesn't seem as easy as I thought it would be. So, yeah, that whole wax thing though was so weird. I still can't wrap my head around that. But it's great. It's honestly great. It's still really fun. The next chapter is called Luffy versus Mr. 3. Ooh. Okay, Luffy, I'm rooting for you. There was a really good comment in my previous video regarding Nami and Zoro's relationship and friendship and the kind of different things that they bring to this story, their dynamic, and it really shines through in this chapter, especially since Nami is trying to be level-headed and serious, whereas Zoro is just kind of letting things unfold the way they're probably meant to unfold. Like, as much as he wants to break out in fight, you know, he's gonna go that far as to cut off his own legs to do that. He is just taking everything that comes at him. I think he does care, but he's just got this great kind of carefree way of being right now. And it's just so funny to see the reactions that Nami is having towards him. Even Vivi as well. Vivi's like, you idiot. You know, it's just, I love it. And I love Zoro's pose as well. Because he's like, if I'm going to be made into a wax figure, then I want this pose. I also love Luffy's resourcefulness when it comes to fighting Mr. 3. And kind of using Mr. 3's powers against him in a way. Because he needs to break this huge candelabra thing that Nami, Vivi and Zoro are stuck on. And when he gets the wax candle lock move from Mr. 3, at first Luffy's like, oh no, not again. And then he's like, oh wait, hang on. I can use this to my advantage. And so he does. Puts his hand through it, and then he uses that to smash the candelabra. Luffy has always been quite resourceful. Even if it doesn't look like he's winning the battle, he'll think of something that will turn the tables. And he'll, more times than not, use the powers that the other person has against them. He is a brilliant fighter like that. He has such a different style to Zoro as well, so I really enjoy that. But the chapter ends with Miss Golden Week. I haven't even mentioned her, but she is the partner of Mr. 3, who we were introduced to a few chapters back. And yeah, she, at the very end of the fight, well, Luffy is gonna save Vivi, Zoro, and Nami. But then he's like, actually, I'm not going to. I'm not going to save you guys. And we end with Miss Golden Week using the move Colors Trap. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I believe it must be some kind of mind manipulation to get somebody to do what you want. Kind of like hypnotism. I'm looking forward to finding out more about Miss Golden Week. She's been very silent this entire time, almost invisible. She's been nigh on invisible this entire time so far. So now she's come out and she has this incredible power that makes me a little bit worried that Luffy's not going to save our gang. So nice to see Usopp try to fight as well. He uses his gunpowder star against Mr. 5, but it doesn't quite work out to plan. But nice to see him be a lot more proactive. It was good all round, a really good chapter, and I'm really enjoying the fighting. As much as I'm somebody who loves peace and tranquility, I love a good fight. And I feel like this fight with Mr. 3 has been quite tough. So will it be resolved in the next one? I don't know. I'm almost finished volume 14 as well. Oh, it's been so good. I can't believe I've been sitting here all day. You guys must think I'm so lazy. That's another chapter read. The fight is still ongoing, and I'm loving how Usopp is incorporating himself in this fight because Miss Golden Week is affecting Luffy. She keeps using these attacks on him. So I guess I was pretty much right. Her powers are hypnotic, but she uses art, she uses paint, and she has different painting abilities that when this mark is either on Luffy or he's standing on it, then she can control what he does pretty much. So the paint she did at the end of the previous chapter was one that would make him betray his friends. And then when Luffy escapes that, she does another one that makes him laugh. And then she does another one where he keeps repeating, the tea is good, the tea is good. This chapter is good. So having Usopp sporadically moving around this sort of area and inadvertently helping Luffy, it gives me major Scooby and Shaggy vibes with Karoo and Usopp, because Usopp is like riding around on Karoo and Karoo is going like crazy, and it's so chaotic. Yeah, it gives me Scooby and Shaggy vibes. They end up burning off Luffy's shirt at the end so that Miss Golden Week's paint will hopefully not be able to affect him. I mean, surely she can still paint on his skin, right? Will that still work if she painted on his skin? Because the theory now is that because Luffy doesn't have a shirt on, Miss Golden Week won't be able to control him. But I would say probably if she painted on his skin, it would still work, right? I don't know, maybe skin is off limits. Maybe. I don't know, that hasn't been explained. Yeah, we end the chapter with Luffy without a shirt on, like, now I'm really mad. He is really mad. But good on Usopp and Karoo. So even though Karoo was running around like a headless chicken, or should I say a headless duck, they still helped. And how much of that was intentional, I do not know. But they helped nonetheless. And Nami, Zoro, and Vivi are fully wax figures now. And honestly, Zoro, in his pose, he looks majestic. He looks majestic as a statue. He should definitely consider getting a wax statue of himself. He really does look good as a statue. Keep it. Commission Mr. 3 to make you one. Okay, I don't know if their plan actually works because this chapter ends on a cliffhanger again. But Usopp is really becoming like the MVP of this arc at the minute because he keeps coming up with really good ideas. Obviously, wax melts with heat. Why didn't I think of that? Obviously, this is like a different kind of wax, but still, wax is wax. So Usopp is like, yeah, light them up, light the bastards up. And they're trying their best, like the opposing side are trying their best to stop them. Mr. 3, Mr. 5, and it's really entertaining to watch. Again, so chaotic, so much happening at once, but it's really fun to follow along. It's been a really fun fight, and the stakes are so high. Now Zoro, Nami, and Vivi have 30 seconds before their hearts turn to wax, and then they will never be able to, return to normal. So, like, I'm on the edge of my seat, like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna make it? Hopefully. Loved the moment when Mr. 3 became the candle champion. So now he is like surrounded by wax and he has like a flame on his head as well. And even Luffy stops and he's like, cool. And then Usopp's like, don't admire him. Luffy does appreciate, even if it's a villain, he does appreciate when there is a spectacle, when there is something worthy of admiration. Because it is quite an amazing sight. Seeing someone in this kind of Transformers style wax bodysuit that apparently doesn't have any weak spots. However, again, Usopp with the facts. Wax melts. Wax melts. I'm excited to see how this fight ends. Oh, and Sanji, he's alive. Thank God. He is still alive. He's been on the ship this entire time, waiting for them to come back. So now he's left the ship and he's looking for his friends. He's come across that makeshift wax house that Mr. 3 made earlier on. But it was actually quite funny because Sanji's in the jungle. There is this really scary looking saber-toothed tiger thing. I think it's a saber-toothed tiger. I might be totally wrong. It looks formidable in one panel, and then in the next panel, it's Sanji riding this saber-toothed tiger. And this saber-toothed tiger looks in distress. Going from that to that, incredible. Perfect comedic timing again. Oda knows how to deliver comedic timing. Instinct. Boom. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, I'm going to tell you why I said instinct. So the battle with Mr. 3, I think is over now. It was a really, really good battle. I haven't had this much fun reading a battle in a while. I would say this is probably like one of the more fun battles I've seen in One Piece so far. Usopp's plan of lighting up the wax works. Nami, Zoro, and Vivi are saved. It's funny how Zoro's clothes are absolutely fine, but Nami is now in her bra. Vivi also seems to be okay in the clothes department. But yeah, Nami is now pretty much half naked. But I'm glad that battle ended. It ended in a really good way as well because there were quite a lot of Mr. 3s when Luffy chases after him. There are multiple, like absolutely loads of Mr. 3s. And Mr. 3 is like, which one is which? Who's the real Mr. 3? You're just a stupid boy who goes on instinct. You will not know who I am. And then instantly Luffy knows who it is. And when Mr. 3 asks how he knew, Luffy says instinct. That's why I love it. Like, I love that part. It was so good. Yes, that was a mic drop moment for Luffy right there. So I loved how the battle wrapped up. We do end the chapter with more interesting developments. So we had Sanji. He is in that wax house that belongs to Mr. 3. And, I mean, firstly, he's just enjoying the tea. What I've found in One Piece recently is Oda a fan of tea? Especially, like, English tea? Because we've had recurring images of tea come up. And I like it. I do like tea. I'm more of a coffee drinker, but the whole tea thing is hilarious, but also gives really good kind of vibe. And Sanji's just enjoying himself, drinking this tea, and it's like, oh crap, really, I should be out there, and maybe the girls, like, need saving and stuff. And then the phone rings, and when Sanji picks up, it's Mr. Zero. Ooh, so now Sanji is like on the phone to Mr. Zero. And Mr. Zero's crocodile, right? One of the 7 warlords. Oh, I think I've only got 3 chapters left or something. So I finished volume 14. I'm now on volume 50, and this one feels thicker. than all the other volumes so far. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I really do wish there was more dinosaurs. But now I'm really interested to see what Sanji says to Mr. Zero. Also, does this mean that Sanji will now be on his hit list? Because previously it was only Nami, Luffy, Zoro, and Vivi, so now Sanji might be. I don't know, because you can't see him. But still, like, it'll be interesting to see how this conversation goes. If the conversation actually happens. Oh, good grief, it's freezing. Following up on Sanji and the telephone, this chapter pretty much deals with that telephone conversation that he has with Mr. Crocodile, aka Mr. Zero. Can I just say, the Unluckies are probably my favourite things ever. Why do they look so funny? It's the way they just don't show emotion on their face whatsoever. And they seem to come in at the most inopportune times as well. They just appear out of nowhere and boom, you're in trouble. However, Sanji does kick some butt and they might have gotten away with it because now Sanji has the eternal pose to Alabasta. So even though Sanji has been MIA this entire arc, he's done what nobody else could do. So he did have his uses. We also have this panel of Mr. Crocodile right there. And I'm trying to see if I recognize him. But you can't really tell that much because of the huge text bubbles in front of his face. I'm looking at his nose though. Does he have like some kind of like scar on his nose along there? Has a earring in the right ear. Oh, Miss All Sunday is now on her way. I like Miss All Sunday. She seems pretty cool. She seems pretty cool. This is what I mean about the Unluckies. Are they just the best? Oh my god, the best thing ever happened. Dorry's alive. Dorry is alive. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It genuinely looked like he died. That rush of blood that went up like a volcano, I swear he looked dead. I thought he was dead. But I'm really glad that he isn't because Broggy was so emotional over it. He was crying. He was crying so much. And but he's alive. He's alive. That makes me so, so happy that he's actually alive. Because now Broggy won't be alone. And that's so sweet. Well, it turns out that the weapons that they were using were just like very old and worn down because they have been battling for 100 years. In this world, that means that when that death blow happened, it wasn't really that much of a deal. It just knocked him out. And I'm just taking this as it comes at this point. So yeah, 2 chapters left. Okay, did Disney get their Tamatoa in Moana design from One Piece? Tell me that isn't Tamatoa. Shiny! We are coming to the end of this arc, and you can really feel it because things have been wrapped up with the villains that were fighting them physically, and we have the gang ready to leave Little Garden. Leave it behind. And it's always sad when we move from one place to the next, but also full of possibility. Full of possibility. In this one, we really just had Sanji, finally reunite with the gang and tell them that he was on the phone to Mr. Zero. And now everyone believes the Straw Hats are dead so that they're not being hunted. And Sanji also has the eternal pose to Alabasta. So things are looking good. However, we end the chapter with, I think, this big monster. This big, huge monster that's on its way. But Dorry and Broggy are going to help. They're going to help. It's so nice that they are giving their life almost to the Straw Hats. And that's like so touching. The Straw Hats were essentially strangers beforehand. And after, fighting each other for 100 years, now they seem to have like a different purpose. And now they are going to, they tell Luffy to just sail straight ahead. And we will allow no enemy to trample on our friend's pride. Friendship is so sweet. Yeah, not really a whole lot else to say. Very short, very to the point. Just now we are moving on to the next thing. Although now I think the next chapter is going to be a big fight with the big sea monster. So that is a great way to end this arc, if that's the case. I love this panel as well, by the way. I think that panel's so awesome with the 2 giants setting the team off. It's so good. Okay, let's finish this arc now. Oh wow, I love the beautiful symmetry of how we started this arc and how we are ending this arc. The biggest thing I love about this chapter is that we actually find out what Dorry and Broggy were fighting about all this time. And when you see Little Garden at the start of the arc, and you see the mountains, in this one you see the mountains, but they're actually the bones of the sea creatures that Dorry and Broggy had captured 100 years ago, and they were arguing over who had the biggest sea monster, who caught the biggest sea monster. And it's a great parallel to the challenge between Sanji and Zoro. And it's like the silliest thing with the most heart, which I just feel like sums up the series as a whole so far. It is just silly, but with the biggest heart. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. And we did get this big sea monster kind of thing. It was more like a huge goldfish, an island-eating goldfish that the Straw Hats run into at the very end of the previous chapter, and then comes face to face in this chapter. But then obviously Dorry and Broggy are true to their word, and they have told them to go straight ahead, and they save the Straw Hats. They blast a hole through the goldfish. They use the last of their weapons and save them. And it's such an epic moment as well. These Straw Hats and their ship going through the hole of this goldfish. So in my version of the manga, I don't know if it's because these are English translations and they might not be correct, just like Zolo. The English books that I have say Merigo as the ship name, but I have been told that that's not actually the ship name. So is the ship name Going Merry? Is that the actual ship name? Please let me know in the comments. I want to make sure I get it right. The audacity of Oda having the arc end with a cliffhanger, because I'm not getting to the Drum Island arc for, I think, another week and a half. So I'm having a little kind of break from One Piece so I can do my other videos. But yeah, Nami collapses with a fever at the end of this chapter. And I'm like, what's wrong with Nami? Is there something like really bad happening to Nami? I need to know pretty much right the now. Oh, also, love that Zoro is taking his training so seriously. I can imagine the disappointment he has that he didn't really get a chance to fight when he was confronted with Mr. 3, and he obviously feels bad for not being able to pretty much save himself. And he seems to be like the only character that I've noticed so far who actually goes out of their way to train, other than Kobe, who in the cover illustrations, the title pages where we have the diary of Kobe, he's also training, but that's a side storyline thing. I am reading the title pages. This is probably like the transitional finale of the arc, so that we are heading directly towards the next one. But overall, it was a really good ending to the arc. I haven't disliked an arc so far, honestly. I feel like pretty much every arc I've read in One Piece has served a purpose, has been entertaining, and this one was so entertaining. I do wish there was more dinosaurs though, I really do. For being an island full of dinosaurs, we didn't get that many dinosaurs, or that many run-ins with them. So it would have been great to have had a little bit more of a mix with that. But alas, I can't change anything. And I would still put this above Whiskey Peak, and I would give this one a... What did I give Whiskey Peak again? I gave Whiskey Peak a 7. So I would probably give this an 8, and I would change some of the ratings that I gave the East Blue Saga arcs. I'm telling you, the more arcs I read, the better I understand what I love in the One Piece series, and retrospectively, how much arcs have stuck with me, and what I would give them in hindsight, compared to the rest of it. Because, yeah, I'm still learning, and I think there are some arcs in the first saga that I would bump up. I think I was a bit too harsh on Barate, the Barate arc, but I think I would probably give that one an 8 now, because I would probably say it would be, maybe, this is probably blasphemous to say, but on par with Little Garden arc, for me, personally. Oh gosh, I don't know anymore. I don't know, maybe I do prefer the Barate arc to this. Would I give this the same rating as Romance Dawn? I'm having a crisis with my ratings now. I'm having a crisis. I definitely liked it more than Whiskey Peak. 7.5? No. Okay, let me sit on my ratings. I'm going to give this one an 8 for now. I'm going to completely reshuffle some ratings that I've given earlier arcs and put that into the next arc review, which will be Drum Island. That will be coming in a couple of weeks. So make sure that you stick around to see that pop up. Maybe subscribe and you won't miss it. And then we only have 2 arcs left of the Alabasta arc. It's been such a good day spending time with the Straw Hats. Literally, I've been reading all day. I could have done it faster, as I've said, but I've been really trying to take this one in a lot more than the other arcs, and it was just so much fun. So much fun. I love days where I can just sit and read One Piece. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it, love it, love it, love it so much. Drum Island arc, here we go. But that's the end of this video, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. What did you think of the Little Garden arc? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Let me know everything. I would love to chat to you. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.